Ever thought about why termites build skyscrapers? Those towering mud mounds dotting the savannas aren't just dirt piles, they're architectural marvels of natural engineering. Inside, an intricate system of tunnels, vents, and fungal gardens thrives, all maintained at stable temperature and humidity levels. Termites use a form of climate control by opening and closing vents to regulate airflow and gas exchange, keeping the internal environment ideal for their symbiotic fungi. These fungi break down plant material, turning it into digestible food for the colony. Researchers have studied termite mounds to inspire sustainable architecture. Their passive cooling system has influenced the design of modern, energy-efficient buildings in cities like Harare, Zimbabwe. It's nature's version of green architecture. No blueprints, no HVAC systems, just millions of tiny builders with a shared goal. Why do you think the world's most expensive coffee costs so much? Kopi Luwak is the world's most expensive coffee, priced at a whopping $600 per pound. This exotic brew is made from coffee beans that have been eaten and passed through the digestive system of the civet, a small animal found in Southeast Asia. Enzymes in the civet's stomach alter the flavor of the beans, making them smoother and less bitter. The result is a coffee with a unique, mild taste that coffee enthusiasts are willing to pay top dollar for. Did you know you might have been answering the phone with ahoy? In the early days of the telephone, when Alexander Graham Bell introduced his invention, he suggested using ahoy as a greeting when answering calls. Inspired by nautical language, Bell thought it would be a perfect fit for the new way of communicating. Imagine if his idea caught on. We would all be saying ahoy every time we picked up the phone. However, Thomas Edison suggested the word hello, and it became the standard, leaving ahoy as a quirky piece of history. Did you know that scorpions can glow in the dark? When exposed to ultraviolet light, scorpions begin to glow bright blue-green. This happens due to a substance in their exoskeleton that reacts to ultraviolet light. Scientists are still debating why scorpions have this ability. It might help them hide from predators or serve as a signal to other scorpions. Whatever the reason, it's one of nature's most astonishing phenomena. Is it possible that giraffes only sleep 30 minutes a day? These incredible animals can survive on minimal sleep. Giraffes sleep for only about 30 minutes a day, and they even do it standing up. They have a special mechanism that allows them to rest in short intervals of a few minutes to avoid predators. With such long legs, they can quickly spot approaching danger. Did you know that what is called informing in Belarus, Russia, and throughout Europe is considered a manifestation of vigilance in the United States? Americans are accustomed to acting quickly and calling the police if they notice something suspicious in their neighbors or local area. In a country where safety and order are highly valued, residents see it as their duty to monitor their surroundings and help maintain public order, sometimes even without being asked. This illustrates the dominant culture of vigilance in the U.S., where it is viewed not as interference, but as a responsibility of every citizen. How about this? Wombats dig underground bunkers like architects. Wombats are short, stout marsupials, but underground, they're skilled civil engineers. Using their strong claws and muscular limbs, they carve elaborate tunnel networks stretching up to 30 meters, complete with multiple chambers. These burrows maintain constant humidity and temperature, offering perfect shelter from predators and harsh weather. Mothers dig backward to protect their young from collapsing soil, and some tunnels have branches that confuse intruders. These dens may even be shared or reused across generations. Scientists believe wombats influence local soil ecology and plant growth through their digging habits. Their tunnels serve as pantries, hiding spots, and social meeting places. With no tools, no blueprints, and no formal training, wombats have evolved into builders whose work can outlast human structures. Did you know that the world's smallest mammal weighs less than a penny? The bumblebee bat holds the record as the world's smallest mammal, weighing less than a penny. Native to Southeast Asia, these tiny bats live in caves and hunt for insects with remarkable efficiency. Despite their small size, just about 2 grams, they are perfectly adapted to their environment. The bumblebee bat demonstrates that nature's diversity includes even the tiniest of creatures, each playing an important role in the grand tapestry of life. How about this? In Turkey, there is an ancient underground city that could hold over 20,000 people. Derinkuyu is one of the largest and most mysterious underground cities in the world. It was built thousands of years ago in Cappadocia and consists of several levels deep underground. For centuries, the city was used as a refuge during wars and raids. It included everything needed for life: living quarters, wineries, churches, ventilation shafts, and even schools. The city was discovered accidentally in 1963, and to this day, archaeologists have not fully explored all of its secrets. Can you imagine that the highest temperature in the USA was recorded in California's Death Valley at 56 degrees? It's one of the hottest and driest regions on the planet, where living conditions are extremely harsh. In contrast, the lowest temperature in the USA was recorded in Alaska at -60. These temperature extremes illustrate the incredible climate diversity in the country, from the scorching heat of deserts to the deadly cold of the northern latitudes. Did you know the largest living organism on Earth is a mushroom? The honey fungus, also known as the giant mushroom, covers an astonishing 2,385 acres in the Malheur National Forest in Oregon, USA. This fungus forms a massive underground network of mycelium, which is the vegetative part of the fungus that spreads beneath the soil. The mycelium isn't visible to the naked eye, but it is responsible for the mushrooms that appear above the ground. Can you imagine one organism covering such a vast area? It's a true wonder of nature that few people know about. Amazing but true, ants are unrivaled heavy lifters. Some ants can lift 50 to 100 times their own body weight, the equivalent of a human effortlessly raising a small car. This superhero strength comes from their body structure. Small size allows a high muscle-to-mass ratio, and their exoskeletons distribute weight with near-perfect efficiency. When working in groups, ants become even more impressive. They coordinate with pheromones and touch signals to form living transport systems, moving massive objects across long distances. Leafcutter ants, for example, create highways through forests to carry pieces of vegetation back to cultivate underground fungus farms. This fusion of biological strength and teamwork has even inspired engineers to develop ant-based algorithms for robotics and logistics. In the insect world, ants are not just strong, they're strategic geniuses of construction and transportation. Why do cat whiskers really resemble antennas? Whiskers, technically called vibrissae, are far more than decorative features on a cat's face. These thick, stiff hairs are deeply embedded in nerve-rich follicles, making them ultra-sensitive to touch, airflow, and vibration. Found not only on the muzzle but also above the eyes, on the jaw, and even on the paws, whiskers help cats navigate tight spaces, hunt in darkness, and judge distances before leaping. They detect air currents around objects, giving cats a kind of sixth sense that lets them see with touch. When stalking prey, whiskers track the slightest movements, helping cats pinpoint the exact location of a target. During a jump, they act like gyroscopic sensors, helping with last-second mid-air corrections. In essence, whiskers are natural motion detectors and navigation tools, biological radar systems that turn every cat into a precision-controlled predator. The Royal Game of Ur is the oldest board game, over 4,000 years old. This ancient game was discovered during excavations in Mesopotamia and dates back to around 2600 BCE. Played by two players on a 20-square board, the game involved strategic moves with pieces that maneuvered around obstacles. It had a major influence on the development of future board games, demonstrating the strategic thinking of ancient civilizations. Just imagine how deep-rooted our love for games really is. Did you know Bank of America was originally called the Bank of Italy? One of the largest banks in the United States, Bank of America, was originally founded in 1904 in San Francisco as the Bank of Italy. Its founder, Amedeo Giannini, created the bank to serve immigrants and the working class. Over time, the bank expanded and eventually became the financial giant known today as Bank of America. This journey from a small bank for Italian immigrants to an international financial powerhouse is truly a story of success. Did you know plastic bags can take centuries to decompose? The plastic bags we use every day can take up to several hundred years to decompose, or even longer. Unlike organic materials, plastic doesn't easily break down because it's not part of nature's cycle. Over time, it degrades into smaller pieces known as microplastics, but this process takes decades. This poses a serious environmental problem, highlighting the need to rethink how we use and dispose of plastic in our daily lives. Did you know that turtles can breathe through their butts? Yes, you heard that right. Turtles, especially species like the Fitzroy River turtle, can breathe through their cloaca, the opening they use for reproduction and waste excretion. This amazing ability helps turtles absorb oxygen from the water, allowing them to stay underwater for long periods. This process is called cloacal respiration, and it's yet another example of how unique and diverse survival methods are in the animal kingdom. So next time you see a turtle, remember that it's a true master of breathing from both ends. Why zebra foals start running right after birth. Zebra foals can run just 1 hour after being born. This amazing ability helps them survive in the wild, where predators are always on the lookout. Baby zebras are born with strong legs that allow them to stand up quickly and keep up with their herd. Thanks to this skill, they can avoid danger from the very start of their lives. Imagine being able to run within an hour of being born. These striped cuties are ready to show off their impressive speed and agility right from the start. Can you imagine that the world's oldest color is pink? In 2018, scientists discovered the oldest known color on Earth, and it's pink. Extracted from billion-year-old rocks in the Sahara Desert, this pink pigment was created by ancient ocean-dwelling bacteria. These bacteria lived long before animals existed, making pink the oldest biological color. The discovery adds a colorful twist to our understanding of life's early history. What do you think is the largest economy in the world? Of course, it's the USA. With a GDP exceeding $23 trillion, the US continues to lead the global economy, consistently maintaining its position as a world leader. The country's economy is based on high technology, innovation, financial services, and a strong military industry. The U.S. remains a global hub for investments, startups, and corporate solutions. Its economic power allows it to influence international markets and set trends in global business, making it not only an economic superpower, but also a vital center for new technology and innovation development. The Babylonian lottery, fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. The story of the word dude. From insult to friendly greeting? The word dude first appeared in the 1800s as a derogatory term for men who were overly concerned with fashion. But over time, its meaning shifted, and by the mid-20th century, it became a casual term for addressing friends or even strangers. Today, dude is a friendly word that can refer to almost anyone and has become a staple of everyday slang. Who would have thought that a word that started as an insult would end up as a friendly greeting? Hard to believe, but there's an ice castle in Norway that disappears every spring. In the village of Alta in northern Norway, every winter a stunning ice hotel and castle are built entirely from snow and ice. This unique structure exists for just a few months. Once spring arrives, it melts and vanishes. Every year, the ice hotel is rebuilt from scratch, with new ice sculptures, an ice bar, and rooms for guests. This project has become a major attraction for tourists who come to admire the incredible architecture and immerse themselves in a world made entirely of frozen water. How iron buttocks help Samsung test phone durability. Have you ever wondered how smartphone manufacturers test the durability of their devices? Samsung uses a rather unusual method to test their phones. They created a special robot shaped like human buttocks that sits on phones to simulate the pressure people exert when they sit with their phones in their back pockets. The robot even wears jeans to make the test as realistic as possible. This innovative testing helps the company ensure that their devices can withstand everyday challenges and won't break under pressure. Did you know that koalas have fingerprints just like humans? Yes, these fluffy Australian creatures have fingerprints that are almost identical to those of humans. Their intricate and unique patterns are so similar that if a koala left a print at a crime scene, it could be mistaken for a human's. This surprising similarity adds to their charm, making them even more fascinating. Nature never ceases to amaze, creating such unexpected similarities between species. Imagine koalas as little detectives, leaving their own unique traces in the eucalyptus forest. How Albert Einstein inspired the character of Yoda. Did you know that the appearance of the legendary Star Wars character, Master Yoda, was partially inspired by Albert Einstein? The filmmakers used photos of the great scientist to give Yoda a wise and thoughtful look. Einstein's genius features, such as his wrinkles, pensive expression, and tired yet intelligent gaze, were the foundation for creating one of the most recognizable characters in film history. This fascinating fact shows how modern cultural icons can be linked to real geniuses of the past. The next time you watch Star Wars, remember that Yoda's wise look hides a bit of one of history's greatest scientists. Can you imagine a mole seeing with its nose? In the pitch-black tunnels of the underground, vision is useless, but for the star-nosed mole, that's no problem. This small, burrowing mammal has one of the most sensitive tactile organs in the animal kingdom. Surrounding its nostrils is a unique, star-shaped ring of 22 fleshy appendages, each packed with thousands of sensory receptors known as Eimer's organs. These structures allow the mole to process textures, vibrations, and temperature at lightning speed, so fast, in fact, that it can identify and consume prey in under 8 milliseconds. That's faster than human visual recognition. This extraordinary snout effectively replaces sight, acting as a touch-based radar system that maps the world in fine detail. The star-nosed mole doesn't just sniff out its surroundings, it scans them with precision unmatched in the mammalian world. Did you know that 1 in 8 Americans has worked at McDonald's for at least a few days? This is quite an interesting fact, as the fast food chain is not only one of the largest in the world, but also a true training ground for young workers. Many celebrities and successful business people started their careers at McDonald's, illustrating the importance of having a stepping stone in a large corporation. So if you've ever worked there, you're not alone. It's a rite of passage for many. Why are soap bubbles always round? The answer to this question is simple, but quite fascinating. Soap bubbles take on a round shape because it is the most stable and energy-efficient form for holding air inside. When you blow a bubble, the soap film naturally tries to distribute the surface tension evenly. A spherical shape is ideal because it minimizes the surface area, which helps the bubble maintain its structure. Although bubbles can take on other shapes if blown through specific devices or confined spaces, in free flight, they always return to their natural spherical form. It's an example of how the laws of physics manifest in even the simplest things, like soap bubbles. Who would have thought that Al Capone's business card was anything but gangster? Did you know that the business card of America's most famous gangster, Al Capone, stated that he was a furniture salesman? This is an intriguing detail from the life of one of the most ruthless criminals of the 20th century. Capone rose to fame in the 1920s due to his criminal empire, yet he concealed his activities in official documents by claiming to run a completely legitimate business. This fact is striking as gangsters often use legal fronts to hide their criminal operations. The pistol shrimp, master of the sonic boom. The pistol shrimp, just 2 centimeters long, holds the title of the loudest creature on the planet. It creates a sonic boom louder than a Concorde jet by snapping its claws shut so quickly that it forms a cavitation bubble. This bubble then collapses, creating an incredibly loud sound, strong enough to stun small prey. This unique ability helps the pistol shrimp hunt and defend itself against predators. Who would have thought that such a tiny creature could produce such a powerful noise? Did you know it's impossible to breathe and swallow at the same time? Want to know why? It's all thanks to a small flap in our throat called the epiglottis. When you swallow, the epiglottis automatically closes your airways to keep food and liquid from entering the windpipe. This amazing mechanism protects us from choking and makes swallowing safe. Next time you drink water, think about how your body works behind the scenes to keep you safe every step of the way. Imagine for a moment that you can survive on unemployment benefits in the U.S., but only very modestly. It is possible to live on unemployment benefits in the U.S., but life will be very modest. The public housing provided by the government is often located in areas with high crime rates. These neighborhoods quickly develop into crime-ridden ghettos, making living there unsafe. This creates a significant social divide among different population groups, and many Americans struggle to survive while trying to find any job. Have you ever considered that ethnic tension in the U.S. is still an issue? Tensions between ethnic groups remain one of the most pressing social issues in the United States. Historically, laws prohibiting marriage between people of different races were in place, and it wasn't until 1967 that this ban was lifted. Nevertheless, racial tension continues to be a significant topic in American politics, culture, and daily life. Social movements like Black Lives Matter aim to highlight this issue, which remains relevant to society as a whole. Did you know there's a glacier on Pluto the size of Texas and Oklahoma combined? It turns out that on the distant dwarf planet Pluto, there's a massive glacier called Sputnik Planitia. This glacier covers an area the size of Texas and Oklahoma combined. Amazingly, this glacier is made of nitrogen ice, not water, as it would be on Earth. At the center of this region lies a heart-shaped feature made of frozen nitrogen that slowly flows, similar to glaciers on Earth. This fascinating landscape is just one of Pluto's mysteries that continue to amaze scientists. Each planet in our solar system is truly unique. Who would have thought that the world's most pierced man has over 500 piercings? British IT specialist Rolf Boltz holds the title of the most pierced man in the world, with a staggering 516 piercings. His body is adorned with horn implants, stretched earlobes, and tattoos. Known as the man with horns, Rolf enjoys the attention his unique appearance brings. Despite his unusual looks, Rolf says that his piercings are a form of self-expression, and he loves the reaction they provoke. Imagine for a moment that the narwhal's tusk is real. It looks like fantasy, but the narwhal's iconic spiral tusk is no mythical horn. It's a real sensory organ with astonishing function. This 3-meter-long tooth, emerging from the upper left jaw of most males, contains millions of nerve endings and is sensitive enough to detect changes in water temperature, salinity, and pressure. Scientists believe narwhals use it like a sonar antenna, guiding them through the Arctic's icy labyrinths. They've even observed tusking behavior, narwhals rubbing tusks together in what may be a form of communication or dominance display. Some cultures once believed these tusks came from unicorns. Today we know they're instruments of biological elegance and precision, part weapon, part sensor, part symbol. The narwhal's tusk is one of the most fascinating natural adaptations in the marine world. Believe it or not, cuttlefish change not only color, but also skin texture. The cuttlefish, a cousin of the octopus and squid, is a living billboard of biological illusion. With astonishing speed, it can shift its skin through millions of color combinations using 3 types of pigment cells: chromatophores, iridophores, and leucophores, layered in dynamic harmony. But it goes further. Muscular papillae under the skin allow it to raise bumps, spikes, or wrinkles, mimicking the texture of coral, sand, or seaweed. This allows the cuttlefish to not only blend visually into its surroundings, but also physically disappear into the landscape. What's more, cuttlefish make these transformations based on sight and memory. They study the environment and decide the best disguise, revealing learning and problem-solving abilities. This shape-shifting skill is both defense and offense, allowing them to hide from predators or sneak up on prey without ever being noticed. It's hard to believe, but sea stars can evert their stomachs. Sea stars have a bizarre and fascinating way of eating. They can push their stomachs outside their bodies to digest their prey. When a sea star encounters something too big to fit in its mouth, like a clam or mussel, it wraps its stomach around the prey, releasing digestive enzymes to break down the food. Once the meal is digested, the sea star pulls its stomach back inside, along with the nutrients. This unique method makes them some of the most unconventional predators in the ocean. Talk about dining al fresco. You probably didn't know that the International Space Station is the most expensive object ever built. The cost of building and operating the ISS is approximately $150 billion. For comparison, that's almost 50 times the cost of the Eiffel Tower. All this money was spent to create a one-of-a-kind scientific laboratory complex orbiting the Earth. Did you know that American strength lies not only in its economy, but also in its geography? Imagine the United States as a country whose geography is perfectly suited for global dominance. Unlike many nations that must fight for every square inch of land, Americans can control two oceans due to their unique position. This makes the U.S. invulnerable to invasions and allows dominance in global trade. How have they leveraged this advantage? The U.S. has used its geography to establish strategically important maritime routes and exploit them to its benefit. For instance, by utilizing the seaway across two oceans, they control a significant portion of world trade. Believe it or not, the United States managed to connect two oceans. Have you ever thought about how the U.S. managed to connect two oceans and control a critical global trade route? In fact, at the beginning of the 20th century, they waged war against Spain to acquire strategically important territories and construct the Panama Canal. This canal is not just a vital transportation artery, it is also a means of ensuring military and trade power across both oceans. The canal became a key element in U.S. national security and opened up opportunities for trade and military control in the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Who would have thought a group of badgers is called a seat? In the world of wildlife terminology, a group of badgers is known as a seat. This unusual term adds a bit of quirkiness to the vocabulary of nature. Badgers are known for their burrowing abilities and they form close-knit social groups. This unique collective noun perfectly captures their digging prowess and teamwork. So next time you see a group of badgers, you'll know you're witnessing a seat in action, a true badge of nature's oddities. Did you know the world's longest beard measured over 5 meters? The world's longest beard belonged to Hans Langseth, a Norwegian who passed away in 1927. His beard measured an incredible 5.33 meters, or over 17 feet. His legendary beard was so impressive that it was showcased at fairs and exhibitions. After Hans's death, his beard was donated to the Smithsonian Institution, where it remains on display. This epic beard has become a symbol of beard greatness and is admired by many. Why are trees in Poland mysteriously bent? In the crooked forest near the village of Gryfino in Poland, there are trees with mysterious curved trunks. Their bend begins almost at the roots, and the trees grow at an angle before straightening up. The exact reasons for this bend are unknown, and there are many theories from human intervention to natural anomalies. The crooked forest has become a popular tourist destination, drawing travelers eager to solve this natural mystery. Clouds are heavier than you think. Ever wonder how much clouds weigh, even though they float so gracefully across the sky? Well, a typical cumulus cloud weighs about 500,000 kilograms. That's as much as 100 elephants. They might look light and fluffy, but they're carrying a huge amount of water. The next time you see clouds overhead, just remember the massive weight floating above you. Did you know that there is a country where money is made of plastic? In Australia, all banknotes are made of polymer, not paper. This makes them much more durable and harder to counterfeit. Australian polymer money can last up to 2.5 times longer than paper notes and can easily withstand humidity and even being submerged in water. In fact, due to this technology, plastic has become the currency material of choice for more than 30 countries. Additionally, Australian money can be cut in half, and each half is still considered legal tender until replaced. Imagine for a moment that the United States did not win the war with Mexico. The war began in 1846 and resulted in the U.S. significantly enlarging its territory, acquiring half of Mexico's lands, including California, Arizona, and Texas. Had the U.S. not emerged victorious, the consequences for its future development could have been drastically different. Without these territories, the economic and strategic influence of the U.S. in the Americas would have been considerably weakened, making industrial and commercial growth more difficult. Victory in the Mexican War paved the way for U.S. dominance in North America and further expansion of its influence. Hardly anyone knows that the kakapo is the world's only nocturnal parrot. The kakapo, Strigops hubruptilis, is a marvel of evolutionary oddity. Weighing up to 4 kilos and incapable of flight, this chubby moss-green parrot spends its nights waddling silently through New Zealand forests. It has a keen sense of smell, rare for birds, and excellent hearing, helping it navigate in darkness. Kakapos are solitary and shy, with males emitting deep, booming calls that resonate across valleys to attract females during the breeding season. Their feathers are soft and fluffy for insulation, and they climb trees using powerful legs and beaks. Once numbering in the thousands, kakapos were decimated by introduced predators. Today, intense conservation efforts, including round-the-clock monitoring and genetic management, have brought the population to just over 250. The kakapo isn't just rare, it's a living reminder of a time when birds ruled islands free of mammals. How does Germany successfully run a crocodile farm? At the crocodile farm in Saarland Zoo, more than 100 crocodiles live comfortably, even in Germany's harsh climate. This zoo is equipped with water heating systems that create ideal conditions for these exotic reptiles. Despite the cold winters, the crocodiles act as if they're in the tropics. Tourists can even watch them lazily swim or feed, making this one of the region's main attractions. Believe it or not, the water bear can survive in outer space. Tardigrades, also known as water bears, are among the most indestructible organisms ever discovered. Measuring just 0.5 millimeter long, they can survive extremes that would obliterate most life. Complete dehydration, freezing near absolute zero, boiling heat, radiation, and even the vacuum of space. When conditions get harsh, tardigrades enter a ton state, curling into a cryptobiotic ball, halting all metabolic activity and losing almost all body water. In this state, they can endure for decades and reanimate upon rehydration. In 2007, they became the first animals to survive direct exposure to space. Scientists study them for clues on long-term space travel, cryopreservation, and even cancer resistance. These near-microscopic organisms are redefining the boundaries of life as we know it. Tiny, slow-moving symbols of biological resilience. Why do different countries have different-sized banknotes? Banknotes in various countries are sized differently to help people with visual impairments distinguish them by touch. For instance, in the United States, all bills are the same size. But in euros and British pounds, each denomination varies in length and width. This helps not only the visually impaired, but also everyone else quickly differentiate denominations without looking. Additionally, it adds protection against counterfeiting, as counterfeit bills rarely match the exact sizes of the originals. What if I told you there's an island in Japan covered in volcanic ash? Sakurajima Island in Japan is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. Eruptions occur so frequently that a layer of volcanic ash covers the entire island. Local residents have adapted to living in these conditions, and the island even has special machines to clean volcanic ash from the streets. Despite the constant threat, this island is home to thousands of people and a popular tourist destination. How would you react if you found out that the U.S. military funds most of the world's technology? The model by which the U.S. military finances technological developments has been known since the 1960s, when they began supporting the creation of microchips and the internet, initially aimed at protecting against nuclear strikes. These technologies were later adapted by entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, becoming the foundation for commercial products that are now in every home and even in every hand in the form of smartphones. Military funding has sparked many technological revolutions, illustrating how military support and innovation go hand in hand with economic development. How does a giant rubber duck travel around the world gathering crowds of spectators? A massive inflatable duck, created by Dutch artist Florentine Hofman, has become an international sensation. Standing over 15 meters tall, It has already floated through rivers and lakes in cities like London, Tokyo, and Sydney, sparking joy among children and adults alike. The duck symbolizes childhood and joy, and everywhere it goes, it's greeted like a celebrity. Some fans even follow it around the world just to see it in a new location. Can you imagine that the moon is slowly drifting away from Earth? Each year, the moon moves about 3.5 centimeters farther away from Earth. This happens due to tidal interactions between the Earth and the moon. Billions of years ago, the moon was much closer, and in billions of years, it may drift out of Earth's gravitational pull altogether. Though this process is incredibly slow, scientists track it using lasers and reflectors left on the moon by the Apollo missions. Imagine a flight that lasts only 53 seconds. The shortest commercial flight in the world connects two Scottish islands, Westray and Papa Westray. This flight covers just 1.5 miles and lasts less than a minute, only 53 seconds. By the time you buckle your seatbelt, the plane is already preparing to land. It's probably the quickest and shortest way to travel that you can imagine. If you ever find yourself on this flight, you won't even notice its start and finish. Did you know that in Egypt, there is an ancient lighthouse that has been working for over 2,000 years? The lighthouse in Alexandria is one of the oldest structures still performing its function. It was built in the 3rd century BC and serves as an important navigation point for sailors. Although the original tower was destroyed by earthquakes, its reconstruction in later centuries allowed the lighthouse to remain operational. This lighthouse is not only a symbol of ancient technology, but also a testament to engineering mastery that has stood the test of time. Did you know the world's oldest recipe is for beer? The oldest known beer recipe dates back to around 4,000 years before our era in ancient Sumeria. This ancient beer shows how long the tradition of brewing has been preserved. Sumerians brewed beer from barley, and this process was a key part of their culture for millennia. Who would have thought that the tradition of beer is so ancient and still thriving today? Guess what the real reason is behind the naked mole rat's superpowers? Naked mole rats are more than quirky, wrinkled rodents. They're evolutionary superheroes. Living underground in eusocial colonies, they defy mammalian norms with insect-like organization. A queen does all the breeding while others work or defend the nest. But their real superpowers lie in biology. They're immune to many forms of pain, resistant to cancer, and can survive up to 18 minutes without oxygen. Their bodies produce unique proteins that suppress tumors and prevent cells from crowding, a natural barrier against cancer. They live 10 times longer than other rodents their size, showing little age-related decline. Scientists are studying them to understand aging, cancer resistance, and low oxygen survival, unlocking secrets that could transform human health. In the darkness of their tunnels, these odd creatures quietly guard the keys to longevity. Horsepower, more than just a name. Did you know that a horse can produce a lot more than just 1 horsepower? The term was coined by Scottish engineer James Watt to compare the power of steam engines to the strength of a horse. It turns out that a single horse can actually generate a maximum output of up to 18,000 watts, which is roughly equivalent to 24 horsepower. This number depends on factors like the horse's size, breed, and physical condition. While we often use this unit to measure cars and machinery, its origins tie us back to the era of steam engines and the Industrial Revolution. The spring equinox. More than just a change of seasons. The first day of spring is known as the vernal equinox. The term vernal comes from the Latin word for spring, while equinox means equal night in Latin. During this time, day and night are nearly equal in length. An interesting fact, according to a study on Facebook, spring is the season when couples are most likely to break up. Perhaps the balance of day and night encourages people to seek new beginnings. Who knew that an astronomical event could have an impact on our personal lives? Did you know that accents in Britain can change every few kilometers? British English is quite different from American English, and its pronunciation has become increasingly diverse in recent years. Accents in various parts of the UK can vary so widely that you can hear a completely different pronunciation just a few kilometers apart. The royal family is trained to speak Queen's English, which is a distinct and unique standard in the language. Why is Mauna Kea volcano 10 times taller than Everest? Mauna Kea on Hawaii is not just a volcano, but a towering structure that extends deep below the ocean surface. Its above-water section is over 4,000 meters tall, but its underwater slopes stretch even further. Taking the full height of Mauna Kea from base to summit, it measures over 10,000 meters, making it far taller than Everest. Though its peak is hidden underwater, Mauna Kea is one of the tallest mountains on Earth. Have you ever thought about how bats are the only flying mammals? Their wings are unlike birds' wings. They are special membranes stretched between elongated fingers. This unique construction allows bats to perform complex aerial maneuvers while hunting insects. They also use echolocation to navigate in the dark, making them incredibly precise hunters. Bats play a vital role in ecosystems, eating vast numbers of insects and pollinating plants. Can you imagine the world's longest traffic jam lasted 12 days? In 2010, China experienced the longest traffic jam in history, stretching over 100 kilometers and lasting an incredible 12 days. The traffic jam occurred on the highway connecting Beijing and Inner Mongolia, caused by a combination of road accidents and a massive number of vehicles. Some drivers were stuck for so long that they had to negotiate with local villagers for food and water. This event became a true test of patience and endurance, and remains one of the most epic traffic jams ever recorded. How did ancient Egyptians predict the flooding of the Nile? The ancient Egyptians believed that the flooding of the Nile depended on the position of the star Sirius in the sky. They watched for its rising and knew that when Sirius appeared, the time of the flood was approaching, bringing fertility and wealth to their land. Sirius was so important to the ancient Egyptians that it was even associated with the goddess Isis. This star helped predict harvests and prevent famine, holding significance for thousands of years. Did you know that 2 to 3% of people don't need deodorant? Yes, it's true. About 2 to 3% of the population has a genetic mutation that prevents the production of unpleasant body odor associated with sweating. These people can engage in sports and physical activity without worrying about body odor. This happens because they lack the necessary bacteria that break down sweat and create unpleasant smells. This discovery sheds light on the diversity of human genetics and how we perceive body odors. Believe it or not, the world's smallest island is only a few square meters. Bishop Rock, located in the Atlantic Ocean off the coast of England, holds the title of the world's smallest island. Its area is only 8 thousandths of a square kilometer, just 3 thousandths of a square mile. Despite its tiny size, the island boasts a lighthouse and is the most westerly point of England. It's officially recognized in the Guinness World Records as the smallest inhabited island, proving that even the smallest piece of land can be home to something remarkable. Can you handle the heat of the world's spiciest chili pepper? The Carolina Reaper, bred by farmer Ed Curry in South Carolina, USA, holds the record for being the hottest pepper in the world with a Scoville rating of 1,600,000 units. That makes it 640 times hotter than a jalapeno. Its wrinkled red skin may look harmless, but consuming it can cause intense pain, sweating, and even vomiting. This is one fiery adventure that only the bravest dare to taste. Can you imagine a world where dads give birth, seahorses live it? In the underwater realm of seahorses, traditional gender roles are flipped. It's the male that becomes pregnant. After a graceful mating dance, the female deposits eggs into the male's brood pouch, a specialized chamber on his abdomen. The male fertilizes the eggs and incubates them for weeks, regulating temperature, oxygen flow, and salinity. During this time, he nourishes the embryos, protects them from predators, and even contracts in labor to release the fully formed young into the ocean. This is the only known case of true male pregnancy in the animal kingdom. Ancient Asian cultures viewed seahorses as symbols of protection and good fortune, perhaps drawn to their unusual parenting habits. Biologists continue to study this rare adaptation for insights into reproductive biology and evolutionary diversity. In the world of seahorses, fatherhood takes on a whole new level of commitment. Did you know that the whale shark is the largest fish in the world? Whale sharks can grow up to 12 meters long, making them the largest fish on the planet. Despite their immense size, these gentle giants feed mainly on plankton and tiny organisms. They filter massive amounts of water daily through their enormous mouths. Don't worry though, whale sharks are completely harmless to humans and can even be quite friendly if you ever encounter them in the ocean. Sleeping with one eye open, how dolphins and birds stay vigilant. Some animals, like dolphins and many birds, have the incredible ability to sleep with one eye open. This phenomenon is called unihemispheric sleep, where one half of the brain sleeps while the other stays awake to monitor the environment. This helps animals stay alert and avoid dangers like predators. For example, dolphins can sleep while staying on the water's surface and continue to breathe. Birds can rest in mid-flight or perched on a branch while remaining vigilant. This remarkable adaptation is an example of how nature has developed incredible survival mechanisms in the most challenging conditions. Is it possible? The world's largest flower can reach 3 feet in diameter. Meet the Rafflesia, a giant flower that astonishes with its size. The diameter of this extraordinary plant can reach nearly 1 meter, making it a true botanical wonder. But it's not just its size that makes the Rafflesia famous. Its smell resembles rotting meat, attracting pollinating insects. This enormous, eccentric plant perfectly illustrates the diversity of nature, showing that flowers can be not only beautiful, but also absolutely surprising. It's not as simple as it seems, because Iceland isn't just ice. When early Norse explorers reached this island, it was winter. They saw snowstorms, icy cliffs, and cold seas, and they named it Island, or Iceland, based on first impressions. But this land of ice is also a land of fire, one of the most volcanically active places on Earth, filled with geysers, green pastures, and hot springs. Ironically, Iceland is greener in parts than its neighbor Greenland. Over the centuries, the name stuck, becoming a kind of poetic misdirection. Viking sagas described Iceland as both beautiful and brutal, a land of gods and giants, and modern visitors still find that contrast alive. Today, glaciers and lava fields coexist with modern cities and geothermal energy. Iceland's name tells only half the story. Its true identity is a spectacular blend of opposites. Did you know that France sent a cat into space? In 1963, France launched Félicité, also known as Astrocat, into space. Electrodes were carefully implanted in her brain, allowing scientists to receive neurological signals during her voyage among the stars. Félicité bravely journeyed into space and miraculously survived the mission, becoming the first cat in history to venture beyond Earth. She not only etched her name into the annals of space exploration, but also showed that animals have been important pioneers in human cosmic endeavors. Can you imagine the world's longest bridge stretches over 160 kilometers? The Danyang Kunshan Grand Bridge in China holds the title of the world's longest bridge, stretching over 164 kilometers. This engineering marvel is part of the Beijing-Shanghai high-speed railway. Spanning lakes, fields, and valleys, the bridge not only astounds with its length, but also offers travelers breathtaking views as they speed across at up to 300 kilometers per hour. What was the real reason behind the emergence of the first coins? The first coins appeared around the 7th century BC and were primarily made of silver and gold. The value of a coin was directly related to the value of the metal it was made from, which determined its purchasing power. The introduction of coins was a significant step in the development of the economy as they simplified exchange processes and allowed for the formation of more complex systems of trade and wealth accumulation. Did you know the term cow is often used incorrectly? The term cow technically refers only to a female cattle that has given birth to at least one calf. A female that has not yet had a calf is properly called a heifer. Male cattle are called bulls. This term is often used incorrectly in everyday conversation when referring to cattle in general. The next time you speak about cows, remember that there are many nuances to the term, depending on the animal's sex and age. Have you ever wondered who produces the best counterfeit dollars? The most notorious producer of fake American dollars is North Korea. The country manufactures high-quality counterfeit banknotes that are visually nearly indistinguishable from the real ones. These fake bills have been used for various purposes, including financing illicit operations, and have become a problem for global financial markets. Did you know chickens are descendants of tyrannosaurs? The next time you see a chicken, think about this. You're looking at a distant descendant of the mighty Tyrannosaurus rex. Scientific research has shown that chickens and some other modern birds share more traits with these prehistoric predators than any other living animal. This genetic link between chickens and dinosaurs may seem strange, but it's yet another fascinating example of how evolution shapes species. Who would have thought that the mighty T-Rex would one day evolve into a humble chicken? You'll never look at chickens the same way again. Did you know that the peacock is the most colorful animal on Earth? The peacock, native to Asia, is crowned as the most vibrant animal on the planet. Its stunning array of colors includes brilliant blues, greens, yellows, purples, and reds. These dazzling feathers not only captivate potential mates, but also help the peacock ward off predators. Each feather is like a masterpiece, and together they create a living rainbow in nature. The peacock is truly a spectacle of nature, flaunting its colors like a work of art. Isn't it fascinating that our brain stays alert when we sleep in a new place? Have you ever noticed that you sleep less soundly the first night in a new place, like a hotel or a friend's house? This is due to a phenomenon known as the first night effect. It turns out that part of our brain remains on guard when we sleep in an unfamiliar environment, helping to protect us from potential threats. Studies show that the left hemisphere of the brain remains more active than the right, allowing us to react more quickly to external stimuli. This ancient survival mechanism helps our bodies adapt to new surroundings. But don't worry, over time, the brain adjusts to the new place, and the first night effect fades, allowing you to sleep more peacefully. Can you believe coconuts kill more people than sharks? Sharks may star in our nightmares, but coconuts are the real silent killers. Every year, an estimated 150 people die from falling coconuts, 3 times the global average of fatal shark attacks. A coconut can fall from heights of 25 meters and hit speeds of over 50 km/h, delivering the force of a brick from a rooftop. These accidents are especially common in tropical resorts, where hammocks and beach chairs sit temptingly beneath swaying palms. Unlike sharks, coconuts don't need teeth to do damage. The irony? One is feared for drama, the other is ignored for familiarity. It's a reminder that real danger often hides in the ordinary, not the exotic. And the next time you relax under a coconut tree, a little awareness might go a long way. Imagine for a moment that Positano in Italy was once just a fishing village. Today, Positano is one of the most popular tourist destinations on the Amalfi Coast. But this picturesque town was once a small fishing hamlet. Everything changed after John Steinbeck wrote about it in 1953, which made it famous. Since then, Positano has drawn tourists with its steep streets, charming houses with colorful facades, and stunning views of the Mediterranean Sea. Is it really possible that Halong Bay is one of the most mystical places on the planet? Halong Bay in Vietnam is a true natural wonder. Thousands of islets immersed in green waters create the impression of a mystical world where reality blends with myth. The limestone formations rising from the ocean make this bay incredibly beautiful and mysterious. This place attracts tourists with its mystical charm and is perfect for those seeking solitude amidst natural beauty. Every cat has a unique nose print, just like humans have unique fingerprints. Cats have their own special patterns on their noses. Each cat's nose has a distinct print that can be used to identify them, much like how fingerprints work for people. This trait makes every cat's nose completely unique and adds a bit of personality to their charm. So if you have a furry purring friend at home, know that their nose is as unique as their character. This amazing fact highlights how diverse and mysterious the feline world is, where even the smallest details matter. Turtles, ancient relics with armor from the past. Turtles are among the oldest reptiles on our planet. Their shells are not just armor, but part of their skeleton that has protected them for over 200 million years. They have witnessed dinosaurs come and go, survived ice ages and mass extinctions. Some species can live over 150 years, and leatherback turtles can weigh up to 900 kilograms. They can swim across oceans, covering thousands of kilometers in search of food. Turtles are true masters of survival, carrying their mystery and charm through the ages. It's hard to believe, but the Great Wall of China is not a single structure, but a collection of separate walls. The Great Wall stretches for thousands of kilometers and consists of a series of various fortifications built to protect China from northern invasions. Contrary to popular myth, it is not one continuous structure, but rather a chain of different walls that connected at various points. This monumental structure holds historical significance and symbolizes the strength and protection of Chinese civilization. Can you imagine that the Tianzi Mountains in China inspired fantasy films? Located in Hunan province, the Tianzi Mountains are famous for their unique peaks that seem to have grown out of the earth, creating an atmosphere reminiscent of scenes from science fiction movies. These mountains served as inspiration for the creators of the film Avatar and are considered one of China's most incredible natural wonders. For tourists, cable cars have been built that provide breathtaking views of these peculiar rock formations. It turns out that Spain has a ghost city built for thousands of people, but no one lives there. In the Spanish province of Galicia, there is a place called Ciudad de la Cultura, City of Culture, which was built with grand ambitions. It was meant to be a major cultural hub for scholars, artists, and creative individuals. However, the project ran into financial difficulties, and now this city stands mostly abandoned. Its modern buildings, inspired by ancient designs, stand as a colossal monument to unfulfilled dreams. This place attracts both tourists and architecture enthusiasts, even though most of the structures remain closed and unused.